In today's video, we are going to be talking about procrastination. We are going to talk about changing up my Flylady zones, why I did that, how I'm going to go about it, and what that's going to look like next for me. We're going to talk a little bit about planning. We're also going to talk about what you should focus on when you're kind of going through like some kind of change, maybe just a different season in your life where things are super hectic. If you're going through something like that, we're going to talk about what you really should focus on if you don't feel like you have time to clean. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so as you can see, today's video is going to cover a whole lot of things. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about today is procrastination. I had a lot of downtime the last couple of days, and I found myself kind of going through my planners and just different things. I was kind of organizing some things, and I came across in a planner a chart that I made when I started this journey with the Flylady system over a year ago. I created this page. So right here at the top, you can see it says zone cleaning, and then I list out all the months. And then I was going to come back in and write down all of the zones and all the tasks in each zone. And I never did that. And I realized when I looked at it that the reason I never did that was because I felt like I couldn't write it down perfectly. I did not know exactly what I wanted to have in each and every zone. I wasn't sure how I wanted to lay everything out, and I became stuck. And that is one of the things that the Flylady system is all about. It's not about perfection. We have got to see those things in ourselves, see these little things when you're stuck, and just realize, okay, this is something that I need to conquer. I need to just get out my pen. I need to just write things down. It doesn't matter if it's pretty. It doesn't matter if it's perfect, and just jump into it. So I just thought I would share that with you and let you know that that is still something that I am very much working on. So if you're working on that too, just know it's okay. Just keep getting up, just keep making progress. And just remember, progress is better than perfection. All right, so now let's talk about some changes that I'm wanting to make to my zone cleaning. Now, I feel like I had a handle on my zones before we moved. Since we have moved, which, I mean, it has been 6 months now. This isn't something that I should still be struggling with, but I am. And I feel like I haven't been able to fine tune my zones in this house. Part of it is just because I've been in a weird headspace with quarantine and not really knowing people here, and just all those things. There's been a lot of factors, and I've kind of just been in a real, just kind of funk. I don't really know how else to explain it. I just haven't really been myself. But things are getting better. We're making friends. We are leaving the house a lot more, and I kind of feel like things are just getting better, and my head is getting clearer, and I'm seeing things differently, and it has been a good thing. But I still want to kind of really fine tune my zone. So I spent some time trying to figure out what I really wanted my zones to look like. Now, I do have a video that I will link down below, but it kind of talks about what do you do if you have 2 zones that land in 1 week. If you're familiar with the Flylady zone, you know a lot of times zone 1 and zone 5, a lot of times they will land in the same week, and you only have kind of a few days to work in each one. And for whatever reason, I have just had the hardest time wrapping my brain around it. And it's not that I don't understand it. I understand it. I understand the purpose of it. I understand why it's set up that way. But it's not something that I like, and I feel like it just kind of messes with my head. And so in that video, I talk about a few ways that you can handle that. I was planning to just go through zones 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and give each zone a dedicated week, even though that meant I wasn't going to be on the Flylady's exact schedule. Now, I did that for the month of September. It was fine, but I still just felt like it wasn't quite right, and that I wanted to try something else. So over the weekend, I looked at some different ways to kind of do zone cleaning, and I remembered that, I believe her name is Tony from A Bowl Full of Lemons. I have followed her for years and years and years. She has a cleaning card system, and basically what she does is she just sat down one day, she got some 3x5 index cards. At the top of each one, she wrote down the name of a room in her home. She did one card per room in her home, and then she just listed out all of the tasks that needed to be completed in each room. Then she kind of divided them up, put them together, and kind of essentially created zones. And she did 4 of them. And one thing that I noticed is that in those 4 zones, there were sometimes a lot of rooms, it was a lot of tasks, but it kind of just got me thinking. Number one, I knew that back to this, I needed to kind of brainstorm and just dump all of my stuff on paper and start doing it. I've been using the Cozy app, which is great. I still recommend it. But and I do have my zones listed out in there and my tasks listed out in there, but I really at the core am a pen and paper person, and I knew it was time that I get these things on paper so that I could just kind of start tracking them better. Because what I've been doing is just when I get to a zone, I just kind of do whatever I feel like needs to be done in that zone. I kind of usually, I will look at my list sometimes, but a lot of times I will just be like, okay, I want to do this, this, and this. I do it and then I move on. And I know I'm skipping some things because of that. So keeping the A Bowl Full of Lemons card method in mind. So what I did is I got a piece of paper in my planner. I pulled it out so that it's not so heavy, but I didn't use cards because I knew that I wasn't going to keep up with this on cards, but I just listed all the rooms in my house on a piece of paper. And then I just very messily wrote down all of the tasks that I want to accomplish in these rooms for zone cleaning. Like I said, this was very much like a brain dump kind of style. It's super messy. Things aren't necessarily in the order that I would like, but it was a good thing for me to do because I finally got everything out of my head, out of all of the lists that I have. Now, I did reference the list that I have on my phone for zone cleaning. I looked at the Flylady's detailed zone cleaning list, and then I also looked at the cards that Tony from A Bowl Full of Lemons had, and I used that kind of I used all of those things as a reference so that I could build my personal list for my home. So I wrote things down in verbiage that sounded good to me. They weren't anybody else's like coin phrases, but I just made a list of the things that make sense for my home. Okay, so once I wrote down all of my tasks on my paper, I did actually put them into my Cozy app. That way I could make sure that I liked the wording and I could put them in the right order so that when I do list them here in my planner on my checklist, they are in the right order and it will be nice and neat and pretty. And that is just because that is how I do things, but it's totally not necessary. The next thing I did is I decided that I am going to try doing just 4 zones. Now I know that might sound a little crazy, but when you think about zone 1 and zone 5, how a lot of times they end up in the same zone, that's kind of what you're doing anyway, is combining zone 1 and zone 5. So what I did is I took my list and I decided to not really think about the Flylady's zones, but I just made the zones. I combined these rooms in a way that I felt like made sense for my home. And again, I'm doing just 4 zones. All right, so the 4 zones that I came up with, and I'm looking down because I'm looking at my phone because I did put these in my Cozy app. Zone 1 for me is going to be my living areas. Now this is going to be our formal living room that I'm sitting in right now, our dining room, our family room, and then also our breakfast room / homeschool room. I haven't showed that to y'all yet because it's still a work in progress. But my thinking behind that is in all of these rooms, most of the tasks that need to be done are basically the same kind of tasks. It's dusting, wiping things down, baseboards. It's the same kind of thing. So I feel like if I'm in one room doing this, it's not going to take that long to just move on through the other 4 rooms and just combine those. Zone 2 for me is going to be my kitchen and my laundry room. Now my laundry room is basically right off of my kitchen, so it really made sense for these to go together. So I'm gonna try having these in the same zone and then we'll see how that goes. All right, so zone 3 is going to be bathrooms, and this is gonna be all of our bathrooms. We actually only have 2 bathrooms in this house, which I feel like is a bonus because it's not nearly as many bathrooms to clean. But again, these two things, they go together because you're doing the same kind of tasks in each room. And so I'm going to do this way. Now, this is not something that I came up with. There are a lot of people that have changed their zones and grouped them together so that they have bathrooms together, bedrooms together, things like that, so that you have like tasks together. And again, it just made sense. So I'm going to give it a try. Now, my fourth zone is going to be bedrooms. This is the one that I am concerned with the most. Not that I'm concerned, I feel like it is my biggest zone because for me, it's our master bedroom. My kids, they each have a bedroom. There's 2 bedrooms, and then we also have an office. And all of the rooms are kind of spread out. They're not kind of clumped together like some of the other rooms. So we'll see. There's a lot of laundry that has to be done in that zone, like when you're talking about like quilts and dust ruffles and all those things, but I feel like it should work. So that is what I am planning to do. So I'm going to be trying this for October and just see how it works. If it's a complete fail, all I have to do is go back to the regular Flylady zones and it's not a big deal. All right, so what am I gonna do with that 5th week when it rolls around? Basically, I've got a couple options. Some months, like December, when there is a 5th week, I will just use that week during Christmas and not zone clean, and then I will do my 4th week of zone cleaning on the last week of the month. The other thing that I plan to do is if we have just a random month that has a 5th week, I'm gonna use that to work on things like decluttering closets and maybe working on projects, or maybe just catching up anything that I may not have gotten to throughout the previous month. So that's what I plan to do. Like I said, this might be a huge bust, but I'm gonna give it a try and see if I like it this way better. All right, so the next thing I wanted to talk about is planning. Now, I am a planner through and through. I have a stack of planners. I have reviewed lots of planners here on this channel, and I also have a lot more planner reviews coming up in the future. I've come across a few planners that I feel like would work really well with the Flylady system, and I'm going to be sharing those with you. I just kind of like opening them up and sharing with you how you can set them up to really make them work for the Flylady system. I think that because I have several of those videos coming, I think I'm going to add them on a different day. I don't think I'm going to do those videos on Tuesday. That way they'll just be kind of a bonus video. All right, so the other thing that I wanted to share with you is kind of a sneak peek of this weekly planner page. This is something that I have been working on. I really enjoy using just a weekly planner page where I can list out my like appointments and things that I need, and then also have a list for all of the tasks and things that I need to do. I like for it to be on an 8.5 by 11 page. The one that I have used in the past and have really enjoyed is the one from Bloom Planners. I do have it listed in my Amazon store if it's something that you want to check out, but I have created one that I'm still kind of tweaking, is the reason I'm not going to share it yet. But it is one that is similar to what I have been using, but I customized it and was able to add some Flylady things. So it's got a place for the weekly home blessing hour and a place for my morning and evening routine so that I can just check them off. And then it's got a nice to-do list. It is something that I will be offering in the future as a free printable. My blog that I used to use is kind of not working right now. Like, it's up and you can see it, but there are some things that have to happen before I can start sharing this. So there's a lot of things going on kind of in the background. So I wanted to let you guys know about that, but I really like it. And I'm also probably gonna make a few changes to it. Like, I already know that I want to change kind of some of the colors and some of the shading and things like that. But it's something that I'm really excited to be offering to you guys here in the near future. All right, so the last thing that I wanted to talk about, I told y'all a lot of things that I wanted to cover today, is what to focus on when you're going through kind of a transition period. Now for us, we moved, we kind of got through that transition, and we found ourselves like a month ago, everything was still kind of shut down where I live. Things were open and things were kind of gradually kind of coming back to life again. But then it was like we had gone from basically being home all day, every day, going to church on Sunday, and that was kind of about it. You know, we went to stores and things like that. But then other things started happening and opening up kind of full force. And we basically went from having nowhere to be ever to having so many different places that we needed to be. And it was a major adjustment. I found myself a little bit strung out. I'm definitely kind of finding my groove, but during that time, I found that it was really hard to focus on all the things when it came to zone cleaning and weekly home blessing and all of those things. So what I wanted to just kind of share with you, if you find yourself in a kind of weird spot, a weird maybe transition period, know that it's okay to not do everything with your cleaning system. For me, the things that made the most difference were to stay on top of laundry and to stay on top of dishes every night. Those are two things that I do every day, and for me, they were the main things that kind of kept our home running. When I had time, I would do a quick vacuum. When I had time to do, you know, another part of my weekly home blessing hour or fit in a few minutes of zone cleaning, I did those things, but I didn't focus on them. I didn't get stressed out if I didn't get to them. I knew that as we continued to transition and things started feeling better again, that I would be able to just kind of jump right back into those things and everything would be just fine. So I wanted to throw that out there. If you're going through a time where you're having a hard time keeping up, pick the couple of things that are going to make the biggest difference for you and your family and your home, and just stick to those and know that that is enough. All right, guys, I have talked long enough today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're new to my channel and not already subscribed, please consider subscribing down below, and I will see you guys next week.
I don't think we got enough time to sort out all the fights, to sort out all the lies. Oh baby, yeah. There was a part of me that knew